Welcome everyone, and thank you for joining us for today's webinar featuring OptimizeR, Stilo's DITA content optimization tool. My name is Helen Owens-Pope, and I will be facilitating things behind the scenes today, and hopefully ensuring that everything runs smoothly. Before we get underway with the main feature today, I wanted to run through a few housekeeping items with you. So just to mention that all attendees will be muted throughout today's webinar. You can, however, submit questions at any time using the Q&A panel in your meeting window. If you do experience any technical difficulties, send a chat message to me. I think I'm listed as host in the chat window. A link to the webinar recording will be sent via email to all attendees, typically within about 48 hours of the live broadcast. And finally, please let us know how we did today by completing the survey at the end. It should come up in a little window as you exit the webinar today. So without further ado, let me introduce you to our first presenter today, Stilo's VP of Sales and Marketing, Bryan Tipper. Bryan, over to you.
Thank you very much, Helen. Welcome everybody to today's webinar. My name is Bryan Tipper. I'm the VP of Sales and Marketing here at Stilo, and I'm sitting alongside Helen St. Denis, our Conversion Services Manager. And today we're going to be taking a look at optimizing DITA content for consistency and reuse using our OptimizeR tool. So let's start with a quick intro about Stilo. We've been in a business of SGML and XML content conversion for over 30 years. And in the past 10 years, we've operated entirely in the DITA space. Most recently, we've developed a tool called AuthorBridge, which is our WYSIWYG web authoring tool targeted at SMEs for DITA web authoring. We also have 3 other tools. The first being a programming language called OmniMark. This is a structured content processing tool which can be used for manipulating XML content, publishing it, and enriching it. We also have Migrate, which is the world's first cloud content conversion service. It can be used to convert content to DITA XML from source formats including Word, FrameMaker, RoboHelp, XML, SGML, and HTML. And finally, the product we're going to be focusing on today, OptimizeR, which is a tool to help analyze DITA content collections and identify reuse opportunities. It can be used to dedupe DITA topics and automatically update ditamaps and conref libraries. It's ideally suited for optimizing content at the time of conversion. So here we have a very diverse customer base, as you can see from the list of companies, serving industries in the high-tech, defense, financial, and healthcare sectors. And so to start, let's ask, what are the typical issues experienced after moving to DITA? Well, first, you'll need to, users will need to start eyeballing each and every reuse opportunity because they don't have an automated way to do so. And this could quickly become a painstaking exercise. And eventually, users, this manual eyeballing leads to many missed reuse opportunities, which in turn negatively impacts authoring productivity. And finally, users learn that content slowly becomes inconsistent over time, which becomes very problematic in highly regulated environments. So we ask ourselves, how can this be improved? Well, the answer is to use a deduping tool to help optimize content consistency and reuse, which is why we developed OptimizeR. So what's the target market? Well, we have ID professionals and information architects. And when's the best time to dedupe our content? Ideally, you want to dedupe as part of the initial conversion project, and then later on for ongoing optimization of your DITA content. So as for an example, if you have recently converted content or if you've recently converted content to DITA, let's say you're using our Migrate conversion service, you can then dedupe this content before uploading it to your CCMS. We also have some other use cases in mind, which we hope to announce in the upcoming months, so stay tuned for that information. And now let's discuss what OptimizeR does. So OptimizeR analyzes your DITA content collections. It identifies topic and element level reuse opportunities. And following joint review and feedback, OptimizeR deduplicates exact and near exact matches, and it does this automatically. It also updates conref libraries and ditamaps automatically. And finally, OptimizeR generates a detailed report on your deduping efforts. So that's just a quick overview, and I think right now it'd be a good time just to pass it off to Helen for the demo. So I'll go ahead and pass her presenter and here.
All right. So now what you are seeing is what you would see when you would log into OptimizeR. And it's got a bunch of collections listed. What a collection is simply a bunch of DITA files that you want to compare to each other. The only thing that they absolutely need to have in common is they need to be the same version of DITA. So I've, again, preloaded this to a large extent just to save us a little bit of time. So the collection we're going to be working on, again, is the OmniMark documentation. And within this collection, I have a library topic, might be considered a warehouse topic, where I have stored the trademark that I'm going to conref all the rest of the trademark elements to. And I've got, this is the bundle. So a bundle being, again, just a bunch of DITA files, could have a map in it or several maps. They just happen to be uploaded together. These ones came from the conversion that we just did. And then I have this other group that are related documents that have come from a conversion from FrameMaker. So it doesn't really matter where they come from. They're all DITA now. And so this shows me the details of my whole collection. It is listing all the elements that it finds, and it's listing them just in the order of how frequently they occur. So I have more paragraphs than any other element in my collection. That's why it's first. We do it this way because when we are deduplicating, there are things we're going to have more interest in deduplicating than other things. Some things it's not going to make sense even to think about deduplicating. Other things it's going to be very important to deduplicate. Notes are a common one that would be useful to deduplicate. Hazard statements. This kind of thing is very important for anything that has an importance put on safety. It's very important to have these accurate and consistent. So deduplicating those would be important, whereas it might be less important to try to deduplicate just a phrase, because maybe that's hard to reuse after all. So there'd be various things that we will or will not care about according to our own reuse strategy. So again, I have analyzed some of these ahead of time just to save us a few seconds, but I do know that I do want to deduplicate my trademarks. So I've got 98 trademark elements. And I just hit the trademark, and it's going to show up here any second. There we are. So I have already analyzed it. It takes a few seconds because each of those trademark elements has to be compared to each other trademark element. So the comparison takes a while. But you can see I have a whole whack of identical trademarks. So if I select that one, I can see that it's already in my library. So that's actually the reason I uploaded the library first, so that the first one I come to is already in the library. And so what I can do now is that one's already in the library. I can simply replace all of those others with a conref to that trademark in that library. That's automatically all done now. That's all I have to do. I can go back here, and now maybe the next thing I want to look at deduplicating might be command names. So again, I've analyzed these ahead of time, and I've got some that are actually completely identical and some that maybe are not quite identical. So we've got two comparisons here. The first comparison will count as a difference in white space or a difference in tags. So if something has a different attribute, for example, that will show up as a difference. But the content itself would be identical in these cases. So this is how many characters difference out of the total number of characters. So if I select this one, I see this is my command name in that particular one that I've chosen. And if I want to see what the differences are, I'm pretty sure it's just a white space difference. So sure enough, it is just a white space difference. So it's not really a significant difference, though that tells me that I might be missing a white space in my content if I eliminate it. But I think that I do want to just deduplicate all of these. So the first thing I have to do is make sure one of them is in a library. Now, I can extract to a library, but the only library I currently have is my trademark library. That's not what I want to do. So I can just create a library. And I will make it a reference. Oh, I have to give it a name. I do apologize. Okay, and my library is empty. Well, that's what I expect. So now if I go back here, back to my command names, I choose this one and I extract it to the library. So now that one is in that library, and I can simply replace all of these, the exact ones and the near ones. So I could go and do this for all the command names. I won't bother because really that's just going to take time unnecessarily. The other thing that people are typically going to want to be able to deduplicate if they can is anything of a topic level. So again, I've analyzed the concepts already, and I've got some near matches. They're exact except for things like tags and spaces. So let's look at this one. So this is the one I've selected. Let's get the differences with some of these. So again, the differences are highlighted in pink. And the difference is essentially the one I've selected has the trademark picked out and the other ones don't. So I want to have the trademark picked out. So the one that I've chosen is preferable. So I can just go ahead and replace those. So if I go back here, I can now say replace near. The other thing that I can do, just to make things a little bit easier, I can go to this very topic and just change its location. So instead of my topic being in the desktop compiler, what I want to do is give it a new spot. I want to make it reuse. So that's going to be its new path. So that's the path we'll see in the maps when we download. Just so that then we'll have a folder of reusable topics. Just something that we might want to do. I'll go look at tasks. Trying to keep aware of the time here. So in this case, we don't have anything green. So there's nothing that we've considered just by a relatively arbitrary definition to be close enough. That's all adjustable, by the way, but close enough to be interesting. So if I look at this topic, and then I see this one that's not quite as close as we would think to be reusable, and we can see that what the actual difference is essentially it's the the component name, concurrent processing versus single processing. So that would tell me perhaps I want to use a key there instead. It's got one other difference here. So it says OmniMark Development Toolkit here and OmniMark Studio for Eclipse here. Actually, this is telling me this one's a better one because that's more accurate. So I could decide, in fact, to deduplicate this and then go back in and put keys or conditional text here to get the output that I want ultimately. So even though that part won't get done automatically, it is helping me decide on what can actually be reused. Okay, so at this point I have done some deduplication, not all that much. There would be a lot more I could do. But let's download what we've got and we'll have a look. It takes a second or two to download because it's actually at this point that we are doing all that substitution. And let's put it, OptimizeR outputs. Yes, replace it. Okay, so this is what we've got in the output. So we've got our trademarks XML that we uploaded. We've got the commands XML that we created. Look at that in TextPad. So there it is with just our command names, just the one that we actually deduplicated. We obviously could put lots and lots in there. We've got the engines folder, that's all the engines documents that we uploaded. The VM ones are there, and in our reuse folder we have the topic that we moved there as well. So that's there with its new name. And we have a report. So this has shown me how many exact matches we found. Now that is the exact matches of the elements that I actually analyzed. I didn't analyze all of them, so this is just the ones that I did choose to analyze. Same for near matches. The reuses are how many I actually did. Obviously I could have done a lot more, but that's what I did. This is a listing of all the replacements. It looks a bit intimidating, but essentially it's almost all. This 49141, that's the number of the trademark element, and that's replaced all of these other things that are trademark elements. And then we will have some that are, there's a few that will be, 49161, that was our command name that we deduplicated. And it will tell me which files have had these substitutions made in them if I want to go and look for them. And then the file replacements, so that's where we've deduplicated the concept. It shows us which bundle it's come from and what the replacement is. So if I wanted to go and check this out, I would go and look in. So if I go in here, find my map. And here you can see I have my topic graph to that reuse folder with that new file name that doesn't have the numbering in front of it or anything like that. So it is a more reusable, friendly sort of a thing. And I could probably go to just about any of these and see a conref to my trademark. I say that, but that was not the ones that had it, so let's go. here. Let's find it. Do it this way. Ha! Well, there's my command name reference anyway. Oh yeah, there's the trademark. So we've got the conref to the trademark and the conref to the command name in this file. So you can see that that's all happened automatically because we know those weren't there when we converted those documents. So obviously I just did a little bit there, but there would be much more that could be done. That's mostly what I needed to show. So if there's any questions, I'm happy to take them if we have time.
We had a couple of questions come in. The first one, obviously Bryan, I think earlier mentioned our migrate conversion service. One of the questions we had was whether OptimizeR can be run in conjunction with migrate.
Yes, and I would say that that's probably a really great idea, especially if you really feel that your content probably has a lot of duplication. It's the easiest time to deduplicate it is when it first goes into DITA. You can do all the deduplication and then upload into your CCMS. That's what I would highly recommend.
Okay, thanks for that, Helen. And then we had one other question, which actually I think will lead in nicely to Bryan picking back up with the presentation. But someone asked if we have an evaluation or trial version of OptimizeR.
Yeah, okay, so let's give it back to Bryan and let him handle that question.
Yep, that sounds great. Thank you for the excellent demo, Helen. One of the nice things with OptimizeR is that it's completely free to try. You can simply go to our website, stilo.com/dita-optimizer and upload a couple documents and maps. We'll then analyze this content, dedupe it, and review the results with you. Afterwards, the deduplicated content along with the updated maps and conref files will be sent to you for further inspection. And if by chance you're also interested in conversion services, you'll want to visit stilo.com/migrate to take advantage of our free migrate conversion offer. This is the same type of offering where you simply upload your sample document or documents. In this case, we're looking for roughly 20 to 30 pages, and we'll go ahead and convert it to DITA for you free of charge. We'll then review the results with you, and as with OptimizeR, we'll let you keep the output for your own evaluation and testing purposes. And before we conclude the webinar, I'd like to mention that in April, we'll be exhibiting at DITA North America, which runs April 27th to 29th of next year. This is going to be held in Phoenix, Arizona. And we hope to be giving a couple presentations there, so please keep up to date and informed by continually checking back on our website for updates. And if we didn't have a chance to answer your question, or if you come up with a question from this point forward, please feel free to email them to us directly or to contact@stilo.com. And please also take a quick moment after the webinar ends to take our survey. It provides great information for all the presenters involved. And with that said, we appreciate everyone who's attended, and we hope to speak with you all soon. Thank you, and have a great day.